Game Time with Boomer Esiason. This week's guest is 5-time Swimmer of the Year, 7-time Olympic gold medalist, and 15-time world champion, Katie Ledecky. Presented by Geico.
Today's special guest has been described by her aquatic colleagues as a once-in-a-lifetime athlete. She is the dominant force in women's swimming, and with a curve to welcome the great Katie Ledecky to Game Time. Katie, welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be on the show.
All right, so you and I share a little bit in common. I feel like we're related in some ways. We both love hockey, of course. Unfortunately, you're from the D.C. area, therefore you love the Capitals. I love the Rangers. But now, because of those family ties, this is where our lives intertwine with one another. Your Uncle John is a part owner of the New York Islanders, and of course, my son-in-law, Matt Martin, plays for the Islanders, and now we both have to follow the Islanders. I don't know how hard that is for you, but for me, it's really difficult.
Yeah, well, I'm a big Matt Martin fan, so my favorite number is 17. So when I went to my first Islander game, I had a jersey with the 17 and Ledecky on it, and I was like, I've got to see who's number 17. And sure enough, it was Matt, and I started just watching him, and I just loved his style of play, and so he became my favorite player, and I got to meet him, and he's a great guy. So we've got something in common.
Do you know what you just did to my life by saying all those nice things about him?
I made you an Islanders fan.
No, you didn't. That will never happen. But I am a Matt Martin fan, although I don't root quite as hard as you do. Now, you also root for the Nationals. And while you were in Tokyo, the team traded away All-Stars Max Scherzer and Trey Turner to the Dodgers. Now, how did you feel when you found about those trades?
Yeah, so when I was in Tokyo, I didn't really keep up with the news very well, but I did come across that, I think before my last race or before one of the last days I was there, and I was just heartbroken. I was pretty bummed about that, but hopefully the team is still good, and I still root for the team. I've been watching some games recently since I've been back.
All right, I just want to round out the DC sports scene here. Is it true that you once played peekaboo with Michael Jordan when he was with the Wizards?
Yes, there's video of it. I posted it last year, so you can find that somewhere.
That'd be pretty cool. There's no question about that. And after the Rio Olympics, you were invited to speak to the Washington football team. What was that like?
Yeah, that was a great experience. It was fun to just be there and see the players and get to talk to them. And I was kind of trying to think of what to talk to them about when I got there, but it came a lot more naturally than I expected. And I think Kirk Cousins was on the team at the time, and I think he was like taking notes in the front row. I was like, oh my God. It was a neat experience. It was an honor to be asked to come and speak to them, and I've been a fan of theirs as well.
You know, I bet we all could take notes from you as we watch you in the pool. It's amazing. You know, since Tokyo, you've kind of enjoyed yourself a little bit now. You kind of let your hair down, if you will. You've actually lit this the Empire State Building. You've rung the bell at the New York Stock Exchange. Are you enjoying a little time off and getting back to a little bit of a normal life, if you will?
I am. You know, I hadn't been home to Maryland in over a year and a half, just because of the pandemic and my training. And it's been nice to now, after Tokyo, be with some family, see some people that I haven't seen in a while, and share those kinds of moments with them and soak it all in.
I got to ask you about what may be your most famous achievement, at least according to social media, and that was last year you swam the length of a pool while balancing a glass of chocolate milk on your head. Now, number one, what gave you the idea to do that? And number two, how difficult was it?
Yeah, so I've partnered with Chocolate Milk, and they wanted me to do something fun in the pool with a glass of chocolate milk, and they had some ideas, and then I had some ideas, and I said, let me just get in the water and play around a little bit, and if we're being really ambitious, I'll try swimming with it on top of my head. And I didn't even know if it was going to be possible, but I tried it a couple times with just pool water in the cup, and then I felt comfortable enough to give the chocolate milk a go, and that's what everyone saw.
Yeah, we love chocolate milk and gold medals. We're just getting warmed up with the great Katie Ledecky. Stay with us as Game Time continues right after this.
You're watching Game Time with Boomer Esiason.
All right, welcome back to Game Time. Although Katie Ledecky's mother was a collegiate swimmer at the University of New Mexico, it was Katie's brother Michael who really got her interested in swimming when she was around 6 years old. And talk about being competitive. By age 7, Katie began keeping a want times list on her bedside table. It was a list of times she wanted to hit in her races. And I have to, what drives a 7-year-old to list want times next to her bed?
I have no idea. It really kind of came out of nowhere. I was a pretty driven swimmer, I guess, from a very young age, as you can tell just by that. But I really have no idea why I called them want times and not just goal times. I guess I just wanted something a little different, something a little more personal, special to me. So I called them want times. No idea why.
You know, after sweeping the distance races at the U.S. Junior Championships the summer before high school, Katie, your coach wanted you to change your swimming style to an asymmetrical stroke called galloping, which was used by Michael Phelps and the men, but rarely used in women's swimming. Why did you make the change?
I was just playing around with my technique with my coaches, and my coach at the time, Yuri Sugiyama, saw me just doing that in the pool this one day when we were playing around with a couple things, and he saw it. He was like, that's your stroke. Keep doing that. And so that's when we found it. I remember it very vividly, and it is a bit of a different stroke for a female swimmer, or was at the time a little unique, and required more of a kick, and some things that some female distance swimmers hadn't really fully utilized in distance races until that point. And so we kind of went all in on that, and I've been using that and developing my stroke based on some of those fundamentals that I learned when I was 14, 15 years old, and even probably before that as well.
Yeah, you know, it's amazing. After your freshman year in high school, you actually qualified for the 2012 London Olympics. You were 15 years old. I can't even imagine what I was doing when I was 15, and you were going to the Olympics. Did you expect to make the team at that time?
I had it as a goal, but I also knew that it was a bit far-fetched, and if I didn't make the team, that I still had a bright future ahead of me, and that I had more years to continue to try to improve from there. So it was a little unexpected, I think, to everyone else, but in that year leading up to 2012, I slowly started to improve each and every meet that I went to, and kind of made it seem more possible as I got closer to the Olympic trials and then the Olympics.
You know, I remember when you won your first gold medal, it was in the 800-meter freestyle, and nobody thought you were going to win it. And I looked back on YouTube, and I was looking at the pre-race interviews and the discussions, and your name was mentioned a few times, but not like it is today. Did you expect to win that gold medal? And when you did win it, man, that must have been unbelievable for a 15-year-old. What do you remember from that moment?
When I envisioned that race beforehand, the night before or the day of the race, I couldn't envision myself winning anything but gold, which is crazy, I think, when I say, and especially right after that, when I said that to people, they're like, "Are you crazy? I mean, you're 15 years old and you had that goal and that vision in your mind, and you couldn't picture anything except that." But that was truly what it was, and I believed that I could do it, even if I didn't say it to a lot of people that was my goal. I really just wanted to be at the Olympics. So just knowing that I could envision the gold, I think made me feel more comfortable when I got into the race and found myself leading the race. I kind of knew how it played out in my head, and I knew that I could finish that race. And it was an unbelievable feeling when I touched gold for the first time.
Katie Ledecky's childhood swimming idol and later Olympics teammate Michael Phelps said, "She reminds me a lot of what I was like when I was a kid, with a record haul and domination. She's not afraid. Her stroke is a man's stroke. That's part of what makes her so special. She never backs down, and she doesn't let anything stand in her way. In 2016, nothing stood in Katie's way. She became the first women's swimmer to win the 200, 400, and 800 meter freestyles in the same Olympics since Debbie Meyer did it back in 1968. And I have to say, that is an incredible, incredible accomplishment. The difference between this Olympics and the London Olympics, however, is that there were expectations. Am I correct?
Yeah, a little bit. Definitely more than London. So I had a really great 4-year stretch from London to Rio. I had broken a number of world records and was certainly the favorite going into a couple of my races.
You go to Stanford and you win 2 national championships there. And I'm just wondering, can Katie Ledecky be a normal college student? Can you go there and just enjoy yourself?
It was a great experience. I came off of Rio and really only took probably 2 weeks off, 2 or 3 weeks off from training, and then was back into it in a new environment and working toward new goals, and not just my individual goals, but my team goals with Stanford to win a national championship. And we won our first national championship since 1998 in 2017. And so it was a really special team, some really great swimmers on that team. And we were able to follow that up the following year as well in 2018. So it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed my time as a student at Stanford, and everyone was really respectful. I did get recognized in the cafeteria or in classes and things like that, but I really enjoyed it because it meant that I got to meet more people. It was kind of an easy way to meet more people. People would just come up to me, so I got to know as many people as I could and try to learn their stories as well and learn what they're passionate about. And that's the special thing about Stanford. Everyone is trying to achieve some big things and working really hard to be the best that they can be. And so whether that was in the pool or in the classroom, I felt really lucky to be around some really special people.
You know, we often talk about college basketball players, college football players leaving early because they want to chase the money. You turned pro early as well. You know, given the new name, image, and likeness rules that now have been adopted by the NCAA and its member schools, do you think you would have stayed all 4 years and competed all 4 years at Stanford?
I don't know. I've gotten this question a couple times, and it's really hard to look back and think through all the hypotheticals. All I can say is I'm happy with my progression and my decisions, and I'm happy for the people now that get to experience it the way that they get to, both with being able to compete in college and take advantage of some other outside opportunities. And I think that's great, and it'll be interesting to kind of follow and learn how athletes take advantage of that and how they're able to continue to represent their schools. I think it's fascinating and interesting to see the changes, and I think some of those changes were a long time coming, and it's great to see that.
We'll be back in a moment for more with the great Katie Ledecky.
You're watching Gametime with Boomer Esiason.
All right, welcome back, everyone. According to her coaches, what sets Katie Ledecky apart is her work ethic and her drive to improve. It's not physical, it's between the ears, said one coach, Bruce Gemmell. It's the absolute burning desire to get better and not being afraid of failure. And I think that captures you, unbelievably perfectly. So unprecedented 6,200 meters you swam while you were in Tokyo. That's almost 4 miles of swimming. And that doesn't count practice, warm-ups, and so forth. How do you manage that kind of workload, Katie?
Well, it was a lot. I can't deny it. It was a lot, and I trained for it. I knew what was coming. I knew what I wanted to achieve, and I wanted to swim all those events. And I knew it was going to be a grueling 7-8 days, whatever it was. I can't even remember. It was just constantly, morning session, night session. I had races most every morning or night. So it was a lot of just eating meals on the fly, trying to squeeze in naps when I could, getting to bed early, taking care of my warm down, my recovery, and how I was getting from one race to the next. And more so physical, it was mentally draining and challenging, and I had to really race and give it your all. And I feel like I did a good job of that in Tokyo, and was able to go through the week of racing in the way that I wanted to.
You know, you did a great job with that. You know, some football players will tell you that practice leading up to the game is so hard that when game day finally shows up, it's like a day off. What's your approach?
Well, I mean, for us, it's every day for basically 5 years. It was hard training, and it's really just a couple weeks before the Olympics where you taper, and so you're rested and you're feeling the best that you've felt in 5 years, basically in the water. And so it's really exciting.
The power of the gold medal, and how do people react to it when they see it?
Yeah, that's something I talk about a lot. Something that I learned pretty quickly after my first gold medal in 2012. Just the power of it, and how you bring it to school, you bring it to Children's Hospital, you show it to wounded warriors, you show it to anyone really, and their face just lights up. Everyone's always surprised at how heavy the medal is, and just feeling it and seeing what it actually looks like just means a lot to a lot of people, and especially kids. And so that's something that I really enjoy doing. I love going to schools, I love going to hospitals and trying to brighten someone's day. And you know, Boomer, I brought the medals. I have the medals here. I'll show you one of them.
Okay.
I got to get it out of its little. Oh yeah, here's a gold one.
Okay. Or just one of the gold ones. There you go.
So this is one of the gold ones.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So I'll have to bring it to an Islanders game.
If I had all those gold medals, I'd be wearing them around my neck 24/7. I could tell you that. More with Katie Ledecky right after this.
You're watching Game Time with Boomer Esiason.
Welcome back to Game Time as we continue with Katie Ledecky. Now, you've committed to Paris 2024. When we were watching the Olympics, there was some, I think, news that maybe you would not commit to Paris, but you seem like you were shocked that you were even asked the question that Paris might not be in your future.
Yeah, I feel like I've said for a while now that I know that I knew going into Tokyo and years before that I wanted to swim through Paris.
I know this next question is going to be a little tough for you to answer, and you can't include yourself. You got to give me other swimmers. Who's on your all-time men's and women's swimming Mount Rushmore?
This is hard. I mean, I'll talk about just some of the swimmers that I've gotten to know just from even the 1960s that have become really good friends of mine. Chris von Salza Olmsted won the 400 freestyle back in 1960, and she went to Stanford and didn't get to swim at Stanford because there was no women's swim team at the time she was going. So she retired before going to college, and she's somebody that I've gotten to know over the past 5 or 6 years and has been a big supporter and friend of mine. So I would put her there. Of course, Michael Phelps. Debbie Meyer, as you said,
Yep.
you mentioned her earlier. She's become a great friend of mine as well. We share that history of the 200, 400, and 800. So she's been a great friend and mentor over these past several years. There have been so many swimmers that I've looked up to, even just in Maryland. I could probably create just a Maryland, Virginia, DC, Mount Rushmore. Michael Phelps, Katie Hoff, Kate Ziegler, Chase Kalish was on the 2016 and 2020 Olympic teams. He's from the Maryland area. So, there are just so many different people. I can't narrow it down to.
I know it's a tough question. That's why I figured I'd throw it out there at you.
I've never been asked that question, so I give you props.
Katie, I think whatever you put your mind to, you can do. You are a USA treasure. You're a treasure of swimming. You're a great spokesperson. Thank you so much for joining us today, and to all of you out there for watching. I'm Boomer Esiason, and we'll see you again real soon right here on Game Time with Baltimore Orioles southpaw John No-Hit Means. Maryland actually has a very good swim program, and why you didn't choose where I went to school, the University of Maryland, that would have been better for us. I could have helped you get in there if you had trouble, applying to school there.
They actually don't have a swim team anymore.
Well, see, we lost it. If you would have went there, we would still have one.
Well, I think they cut it before I was even, halfway through high school. So
it's kind of interesting.